In 1978, the great Alf Engers was the first person to go under 50 minutes for a 25-mile time trial, and thus the first person to average over 30 miles an hour for the distance. Now, impressively, this was a record that stood until 1990, when the introduction of tri-bars and disc wheels enabled riders to go even faster. Now, I've always been drawn to the purity of the time trial, and I also love that how there's this uniquely British subculture where, to the unaccustomed observer, there is these seemingly random congregations of middle-aged men in lycra spandex outfits and weird pointy hats, seemingly at random congregating in village halls up and down the land. And I love that there's the cakes, the volunteers, the tea, and that sort of, if you've been to a time trial, you know what I'm talking about, that act of asking a complete random stranger to pin a number on your arse. The question in my mind was simple. Using all the latest technology, sports science, aero bike kit and nutrition, could a non-elite cyclist like myself replicate Alf Engers' feat of a sub 50-minute time trial in the modern era? In essence, could we turn a donkey, me, into a 1970s Alf Engers-esque racehorse? So to give some background, my current PB before undertaking this project is 53.18 in a 25-mile time trial, and I did that on the R25 3H course in Wales, and that was with a power output of 275 watts. Now, before I commenced this project, I wanted to find out what my baseline starting point was in terms of fitness. So to do this, I headed to St Mary's University in Twickenham and met up with Paul Huff, who's a senior lecturer in sports and exercise science. Paul, what can the bod pod tell us and how does it work?
So the bod pod measures body composition, which tells us how much body fat you have and how much lean mass you have. And when you get in the bod pod, it will calculate your body volume by the amount of air that's displaced. So it works off a similar principle as water displacement. And once we've got volume, we can calculate density through using your body mass, which we'll get from the scales. So what you want as a cyclist is to be nice and lean, and that gives you a higher power to weight ratio.
So how do you propose we use this to sort of, help me?
I recommend you do a test before a particular training block. We can see if body composition is an issue, i.e. if you need to reduce body fat. Then following a period of training, maybe a nutritional intervention if required, will get you retested and see if there's been any change in body fat at all.
So we can see if I've actually improved over the course of training and if I've improved my functional mass. That's the correct term?
Yeah, so your power to mass ratio, yeah.
Right, well, I guess just need to go in and see how much body fat I've got.
Excellent, yeah, so I just need you to get kitted out and we can get you in there. Take a seat, and what I want you to do is keep your hands on your lap and just stay as still as possible and don't move around too much. After the first measurement, I'll open the door again, then I'll close it and it'll take the second measurement. But just limit movement as much as you can.
The initial results suggested that I was 73.5 kilograms with a VO2 max of 63 millilitres per kilogram and a functional threshold power of 285 watts. Now, although my body fat percentage at 18.3% is higher than I'd like to think it is, it's not all bad. Every cloud has a silver lining, even this pork scratching shaped cloud. Because it actually means I've probably got quite a bit of performance potential if I can lose some body fat. Right, so I guess I need to work on my diet and do some training and see if I can improve. So the next step was to go and see my coach, who would hopefully help me increase my threshold power and get a bit leaner. So I've come here to meet Ken Buckley, who amongst other things is a cycling coach and the British land speed record holder for human powered vehicles. So he knows a thing or two about going fast. And I'm going to need all the help I can get. So hopefully with his guidance, he's going to make me faster. Let's go inside. How can you help me achieve my 49-minute goal?
You don't go under 50 minutes for 25 miles without pedaling hard. So we've got you here today to get out on the road, look at your position, study the data, have a look at your power and your heart rate.
So Ken, I've seen the films, Coach Carter, Rocky. I'm guessing that's how this is going to work.
Well, not quite. It's a little bit more high tech than that.
Right.
So once you've got out there and done your fitness test and we understand what your FTP is and we know the training hours you've got available, I'll be delivering your training schedule specific to you via Training Peaks.
Okay.
And I'll set you various different targets throughout the week based on the hours that you train, the training stress score that you accumulate, and the different training zones I want you to spend time in. And then we'll have a catch up once a week to see what went wrong, to see what went well, and to see what we need to do for the next week.
So what else is the advantage of sort of coming to a guy like yourself and having a coach to do this sort of thing and train for an event like this rather than just me carrying on just riding?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I have a lot of guys come to me that don't really follow any structure, but they do go out and ride a lot. So you probably go out and do some commuting at the moment, maybe you do some nice steady base miles, and then maybe go out on the weekend and ride as hard as you possibly can with your mates.
Yeah, try and smash each other to pieces most of the time.
Exactly, and that's great fun. But for time trialing, you need to focus on some specific training intensities that are going to improve your aerobic power and muscular endurance. So we're going to do some fitness testing for you and figure out your functional threshold power and set you some training zones that are based around different percentages of that power. So then when you go out and I set you various different training sessions, you know exactly what wattage to ride at, when to do it, and why you're doing it as well. By having a one-on-one relationship with a coach who understands all of that and you can communicate with directly, means we can be a lot more flexible and we can adapt the training straight away based on how you're feeling, and I can give you recommendations by phone, by text, by email straight away to tell you what to do that very day. And all of that adds up to a more efficient training plan, better use of your time and better results at the end of the day.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you're optimistic because I went through like the big directory of cycling coaches and they all just said no, can't be done. Yeah, you will never achieve this. Impossible. And you were the last one. And
it can be done.
Wow.
I'm that desperate.
My time trial, where I'm hoping to do 49 minutes for a 25, is in about 4 months' time. So I've decided to really try and optimise my diet. Now to do this, I've come to pay Alan Murchison, aka the performance chef, a visit. And he's worked with athletes such as Hayley Simmons, who's smashed the national 10 and 25 time trial records, and also the national pursuit champion in both team and individual pursuit, Dan Bigham, and also the Pedal Heaven team amongst countless other athletes. So hopefully Alan is going to be able to get me on the right track and sort my diet out so that I'm less of a fatty and faster on the bike. Hi Alan, nice to meet you.
Good to meet you. Come in.
Yeah, thanks. Nice to meet you, thanks for inviting us round to your place. So I'm trying to get a PB in a 25-mile time trial. You know, I've trained for time trials before, but food is not something I've ever really taken seriously. I've just sort of eaten whatever I want, as I'm sure most cyclists do. I eat fairly healthily, but I've not really given a whole lot of effort to my diet, not really thought about much. What sort of things can we do to improve that? And how important is it going to be in terms of performance?
I think the great Graham O'Brien once quoted, you could only train as hard as you could recover, and that is no truer then than it is now.
What are we going to do today?
Okay, so for me, first stages is just to give you a good basic knowledge. I'm going to cover half a dozen basic recipes today, which will give you a good sort of template to work from. You know, it's giving you enough basic knowledge that you can go away and you can start doing really healthy, nutritious, balanced meals from the start. We get good habits now, and then we just build that knowledge. The main thing for us is communication. You know, I need to know how you're feeling, how your energy levels are, and I can keep an eye on your training through Training Peaks. So good, 6 good basic recipes which will give you a template to start with. Exact recipe for this. I've got an exact recipe for you, but I can do it to sight because I've made these quite a lot. What we want to do is we want to look at your Training Peaks plans, and we want to see progression, we want to see lots of green lights, and we want to see you hitting the numbers that your coach is setting. That will only come through having the right amount of fuel. What you're going to get in here is you're going to get good quality protein in the forms of the beans and of the chicken sausages, and you're going to get carbs, which are going to help sort of replace burnt glycogen stores from the polenta. So, you know, this is for me a good sort of high energy, high intensity session. This would be a perfect meal for it. It's also pretty good, it's low in fat as well. As you said, the chicken sausages have got minimal fat in it. The cassoulet mixture, if you don't put bacon or chorizo in it, again, it's beans. And with the polenta, again, it's pretty good for you. So it's just balanced. So curries are good, burgers are good, sausages are good, meat's good, fish is good. It's all good. It's just making you understand what's good for the type of training you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, you've got a very clearly defined goal as to what you're looking to achieve here, and I think with the coaching platform that you've got, and I think with the support that you've got behind you, I think you should be able to deliver it. You just need to try and get through this next stage thinking really laterally about food, that every session that your coaches put in serves a purpose, and with the food that I'll give you, it will serve a purpose as well. Hopefully it'll make you feel good, but ultimately it's going to make you perform well.
No pressure then.
No pressure.
This is a Project 49 video diary. Yesterday I did a time trial, a 10-mile TT, and today was a 25 TT. So back to back, and they were both on sporting courses, which for those who are unfamiliar means that they're a hilly course. It's not a fast course where you'll do a PB. They're quite slow courses. And yeah, so yesterday I was 3rd and today I was 6th. So really pleased with that. That's a good result for me, and my power's improved as well, which is good. So I was pleased with my power output, although it is still pretty rubbish compared to Bradley Wiggins or Michael Hutchinson. But for me, yeah, it's good. So that's what it's all about. So I'm just doing some cooking, and this is my pre-race ritual now, which sort of Alan's put together, which is a super greens risotto. So it's really nice to put peas and mint in there. It's really fresh. Good amount of carbs in there for a race the next day, and tastes, I really like it. Oliver has made a pea and mint risotto with grilled chicken. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. That is lovely. So the fitness training through Ken is going really well. The structure is definitely helping me improve, and my diet is much better as well now. I'm eating far fewer Jaffa cakes. However, if I'm going to get close to doing a 49 like Alf Engers, I'm going to need some really good equipment, and the equipment and the time trial bike that you have is really, really important. When you're as thoroughly a mediocre cyclist as I am, you need all the help you can get. So I've put together this absolutely awesome bike in order to help me achieve my 49-minute target. So I'm going to tell you a bit about it and all the different features that are on it. So firstly, it's a Canyon Speedmax frame, which is regarded as one of the fastest TT bikes out there. And it also has, you'll notice, this integrated water bottle and sort of triathlon bento box on the top tube. The Canyon engineers have told me it's actually a few watts faster with this gubbins on it here. So it's staying on. If it's going to make me faster, I'm keeping it. The next thing is my wheels. So I've actually gone for a Zip disc at the back and a Zip 808 NSW at the front. Now the reason for this is that, again, the Canyon engineers have told me that the best wheels for this bike aerodynamically are the Zips. When you're time trialing, saddle choice is really important because you're forced to be on that position for a long time, and I've found it quite hard to find a saddle that I get along with. And if, you know, I want to be able to have kids at the end of this project, then saddle choice is absolutely crucial. Fortunately, this Physique Mystica, I've been getting on with it really, really well. It's like an old Physique Tritone, but it's got the nose slightly rounder, and also the channel is quite a lot softer than it was on the old saddle. Pièce de résistance, right? Check this out, this is so cool. So I've also put on a ceramic speed oversized pulley wheel system in place of the normal pulley wheel cage that's Dura Ace. The reason for this is this oversized wheels, they're 17 tooth, and this means that the angle of the chain is bigger, and the chain doesn't go through as tight an angle, and this reduces friction in the chain and saves you, reportedly, a couple of watts. And this has been verified by independent testing, so, you know, a couple of watts, we'll take it. This is a bit of a hack, right? But the Garmin I've mounted here. If you've got OCD, you're going to hate this because the Garmin is not quite centered between the two tri-bars, but it's in a really good location here because it means that I can see it without having to sort of look down here and look at my computer here. It's just here, so I can sort of just drop my gaze, drop my eyes, and I can always see it, which is really useful when you're racing and you don't want to crash into the back of a lorry on a busy dual carriageway. So if you're very, very observant, you will have noticed the funky graphics on my disc wheel. And that's because this is actually a disc wheel from the Canyon SRAM women's team. Goes pretty well with the Trick gold bling ceramic speed wheels as well. It's just a pretty bling bike. I mean, none of it really matches, but hopefully it'll be really, really fast. So I'm just going to show you something really cool. I've been setting up the bike with the new ceramic speed pulley wheel system and the ceramic speed UFO chain, and check this out, how smooth the whole system runs with ceramic bearings. I'm just going to spin the wheel up, check it out. And it just keeps going. Nice marginal gains. Go make a brew, come back, this thing will still be going. The training's in place, the nutrition's in place, the bike and the kit is all great. However, it's quickly become apparent that I have a problem, and that is I'm struggling to get the power out in the time trial position. Now, I did a 20-minute test on my road bike and I was able to do 320 watts for 20 minutes. And when I tried to replicate this in the time trial position, I was just crashing and burning. And I only managed to do about 250 watts, which is a massive step down. And ideally, those things should be much closer. What's happening is that I'm trying to ride in the TT position and I'm just getting this horrific lactate burn in my quads. So I'm going to need some help. I've come to see Garth at Vancrew Bike Fitting in Southampton, who has a really good reputation for helping to analyse your body and your biometrics in order to get the best position possible so I can really hopefully get the most power out in that aero position. Let's go inside and see what's happening. Nice to meet you, Garth.
You too. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for inviting us down. To you, Mark. Right, so what are the things we're going to be going through today? What are the stages of the fitting process in order to make me as efficient as possible on this
49 minutes
weapon? Yeah. Vancrew assessed my flexibility and mobility and did a very comprehensive assessment of that, and they also used the retool system to fit me to my time trial bike in a specific way. I'm doing some physiological assessment to determine my flexibility and missing range of motion.
that's the good thing about this, is it's very critical to everyone.
Right.
Because everyone's got room to improve, I suppose.
My left buttock
Pulls you forward.
is stronger than my right, apparently. Like that.
How does that feel at the top of the movement then?
Garth also had a top secret, well, it's not secret, I'm telling you about it, up his sleeve. M body shorts. Now these are a wearable tech pair of shorts that are filled with sensors, and what they do is they're able to measure the individual muscle output of all the key muscle groups in your legs, whether that's the quadriceps, the hamstrings, or the glutes. And then this is relayed real time as you pedal on an app, which can be on your smartphone or tablet.
How flexible you are is sort of directly proportional to how efficient you can be at getting power out in an aggressive position. Learned that my hamstrings could be better, that my legs aren't the same length.
I think in terms of flexibility, I'm quite good.
Okay.
I can touch my toes and stuff.
Can
But
you?
yeah.
Okay.
So Garth's just dotting me up for the retool system, because you have to put these dots on that pick up the sensors. We've already learnt that my position can be improved a significant amount, because my hamstring on my right leg is significantly under firing. So hopefully by sorting some things out and adjusting my cleats and things like that, and adjusting the position on the bike, we should be able to get into a position where my muscles are firing properly and there's less load on my quads. But this is a very thorough process, and it's going to take a couple more hours. So rather than bore you with all the details, I'll catch you later. Using this information, Garth then applied his bike fitting wisdom to adjust my position accordingly. He gave me a more mid-foot cleat, and he moved me further backwards behind the bottom bracket. And in doing so, we were able to see through the M body shorts that my legs started firing better. The load was shared throughout the major muscle groups much better, and I instantly felt better. And as a result of this, I was able to actually train at a higher intensity on my TT bike, and I started to see my power come up higher, much closer to what I'm able to achieve on a road bike. This represented a huge leap forward for me. I still produce less power on a TT bike than the road bike, however, it now seems much more sustainable. I am knackered. I've been just riding home at the moment. I'm really tired, but in a good way, because this weekend I did a time trial, which I won, and also did a road race, which I also won. All the sort of training and eating properly that I'm doing is working, because I didn't taper for these events, but I was just feeling really strong. But yeah, it's just really positive to think that everything I'm doing, it's hard, but it's working. So hopefully it's all coming together. It's all coming together. So I'm on a rest day today, so I've come to catch up with Ken.
Hello.
Have a coffee and see how things are going.
Is that Alan Murchison approved?
That is allowed. But, yeah. So how am I doing?
Yeah, well, you tell me, how have the sessions been going?
Yeah, all right, I think. I mean, I've sort of been recovering quite well and feeling quite tired at times, but completing most of the sessions and managing to get most of the training in, so.
Well, I think you've been doing a great job, but do you want the good news or the bad news?
Both.
Well, we'll start with the good news. So the good news is your aerobic power has improved dramatically. So back at the start, when you were training throughout winter for steady riding in zone 2, you were doing about 170 watts for around 130 beats per minute on your heart rate. As of last week, that power has increased to over 220 watts for exactly the same average heart rate. So that shows over the last few months, because you've improved the quality of your training, your power at those lower training zones has increased dramatically.
That's like 50 watts difference from my zone 2.
It's massive.
That's big, isn't it?
I think you've noticed you're riding a lot quicker in those easy rides as well.
So where do we go from here in order to get me get me even fitter and my sort of top end and help me really?
Well, this is the bad news. So the bad news is the sessions are going to get a lot harder from here on in. I know. So a big part of time trialing is mental strength. So you're going to have to, as well as work on your physical capabilities, work on your ability to push yourself to the limit as hard as you can go.
So I've got a 25 coming up soon, in a couple of weeks. What should I sort of be aiming for in that?
So treat this one like a dress rehearsal. We'll take your most recent 10-mile time trial performance, take a few watts off that and have that as your starting goal, like your goal average power for the 25-mile time trial. Give us a smile, this is fun.
Yeah, sounds great.
This is what you asked for.
Well, I've got to go because I've got to go make my dinner. Right, paella time. Let's go.
You cooking me some?
Yeah, I'll make you some as well.
Ken, what do you reckon?
Looks legit.
Yeah.
That's the real deal.
So
You're going to eat all of that? Is that one portion?
no, this is about 3 portions. But yeah, bon appetit. Let's do it.
Shit, falling over.
Fuck.
That's raw footage right there. Edit that out, mate.
So now is the moment of truth. It's 4 months after I did my initial bod to see what my body composition was. I'm back with Paul and we've just done the second reading. So Paul, what is the damage? Fingers crossed, but have I improved?
The good news is you've improved, as in you've lowered your body fat percentage. So you're just over a 2% loss there in body fat, so you're now 15.8% body fat. So that's a loss since your last test, which is really encouraging. Also your body mass has come down as well by nearly 3 kilos. So this again is good because the power to weight ratio that we discussed last time, hopefully if your fitness has been maintained or even improved, that's going to have gone up as well. So it's really encouraging results.
My VO2 max had increased to 67 millilitres per kilogram, and my functional threshold power was again recorded at 285 watts. Now, weight is arguably not the limiting factor in a mostly flat time trial. However, what must not be understated is the reduction in drag that you can achieve through reducing your body mass. Aerodynamics is huge, and any slight reduction in weight can result in a lower drag coefficient.
So I've just got this box through from Madison. Got a Dura Ace logo on it. So any box with a Dura Ace logo on it is always pretty exciting. So yeah, that is a 55-42 chainring, which is a big monster. I've not got this because I'm super strong, far from it. It just allows you to have a slightly better, more efficient chain line. And also in the course where I'm hoping to do the time, there's a downhill section which is really fast. So I don't want to spin out down there. I want to go as fast as possible and hopefully keep pedaling. Well, it's Friday today. I'm doing one of my target races is on Sunday, so I'm looking to just rest today and fix this to my bike later on, in the hope that I can gain a watt. But every watt counts, right? Because 1 watt can equate to, well, the rule of thumb is 0.1 seconds per kilometre. And so if I, over 40 kilometres, if I miss my challenge by 5 seconds, then, you know, something like this could have made the difference. So I don't want to be left saying, what if?
It was now time to put it all into practice. So I headed to the R25 3H time trial course in Wales. And it was nice heading into an event knowing that I'd done everything in my power to prepare myself. However, the one thing I couldn't control was the weather. Now, things like air temperature, wind direction, wind speed, air density are all absolutely crucial in time trialing. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I'd have the right conditions.
Just waiting at the start now, about 5 minutes before I go, on my first attempt at riding 49 minutes for a 25. Just got to absolutely nail myself. It's a bit weird knowing that the next sort of, well, hopefully 49 minutes is probably going to hurt a lot. Which is kind of weird because I don't have to be here, I don't have to do this. But here I am.
3, 2, 1, all best. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, all best.
Savage. I failed on my first attempt, I'm pretty sure.
51.50.
That's what I got here, 51.50.
That's what they just told me on the bottom.
Yeah, it was coming back was all right, but going out today, there was a killer headwind, and the biggest part of this course, the longest part, is the outward leg. The return leg's shorter, so I sort of had headwind for most of the ride today, which made it really hard. I got to the turn and I was on like 46 kilometers an hour average. I got to the bottom of this hill and I was fine, and I just thought, oh yeah, this will be fine. But the headwind was so strong, it just kept chipping away at my average speed the whole way to the turn. And I didn't get caught by anyone, and I passed a load of people. But so I reckon everyone's found it hard, which is the only consolation. But
Well, I've got another attempt next week on the same course, and then there's another one a few weeks after that I can have a go on as well. So yeah, we'll make a few changes, learn from a few things today, hope there's good weather, and keep trying. So just done my second attempt at a 49-minute 25 on a week after the first attempt, which was unsuccessful, and I've got much closer. So this time I did 50-20, so only 20 seconds off. So yeah, getting closer, much to be positive about. And if I can get my power up a little bit, I basically need about 10 watts more. 10 watts more and I'm there. So I'm gonna keep trying. But big shout out, because Coach Ken came and did this one as well, and he has absolutely smashed it. Like, Ken did a 47 something. Phenomenal ride, like massive watts as well. Like, so we're just driving back from our successful time trial, and yeah, Coach Ken knocking out a ridiculous 47-minute 25.
that.
If you want to do a 47-minute 25, the secret is what? Sausage rolls?
Sausage rolls. One
There
for
you-
every minute under 50, I reckon.
There you
Well
go. There you go. Oh man, I've just done a turbo session. So I've just done 2 by 20 minutes efforts at sweet spot with quite a bit of rest in between, which is kind of quite a good way of building up your functional threshold power for long time trial efforts. In all seriousness, you know, you look at Matt Heyman, broke his arm, and he was forced to do lots of turbo training, and then he won Paris-Roubaix, and then more recently Steve Cummings, you know, had a back injury. He was limited to the turbo, and turbo training is so effective that, you know, he got in shape to win the national road race and time trial. So necessary evil. I certainly don't enjoy it. Yeah, cool down now. Just come out for a recovery ride, just a gentle spin of the legs. Yesterday I did another 25-mile time trial, and I got a PB, which is good. But the good news was I got a PB. The bad news was I just missed out on 49 by the most agonisingly annoying small margin of just 7 seconds. So I did 50.07. But I felt a great sense of achievement. I felt really pleased with that performance. The conditions were decent, but they weren't, you know, they weren't amazing. I was sort of counting down. I thought, oh, I need to get to this point by this point, and I was sort of just staying there or thereabouts on schedule. But in the last sort of 5 minutes, I was really turning myself inside out to try and make it, and to just miss it by 7 seconds, oh, it was tough. But I know that I rode really well and went really hard. And July the 23rd would be my final attempt at riding a 49-minute time trial. Now, this may have been a humble time trial starting in an innocuous industrial estate in the middle of Wales. However, to me, this was the final time trial of the Tour de France. This was the World Championships. I had my game face on and I was ready for the 50 minutes, or hopefully less than 50 minutes, of pain I was about to endure. Project 49, completed it, mate. Absolutely delighted. I've done 49.03, so absolutely smashed my previous time. In hindsight, should have been Project 48. But yeah, really pleased that finally everything came together, and like all the hard work and stuff. It's been really hard, and I knew it was going to be hard, but it has been much harder than what I thought it would be. So it's taken me 5 attempts to do this. I think I should point that out as well. I did, and I've sort of got faster each time, but this was my last chance, because this is going to be an article in Cycling Weekly magazine, and even if I hadn't achieved it, I would have carried on trying, and I would have carried on trying next year, and because I sort of knew that it was within reach and possible. But so glad to have actually accomplished it. You know, you break a problem down into all its constituent parts and approach every one in the best way you can. The food, the training, the equipment, you know, sleep, everything, and really focus on all those things and try and do the best you can. Yeah, I guess it shows it's amazing what can be achieved. So I'm really pleased. I'm going to drive home. Catch you later. Completing this challenge has given me a newfound respect for Alf Engers and what he achieved, because he also rode a 49-minute time trial. However, he did it on a steel-framed bicycle with drop handlebars in a woolen jersey with no clip-in pedals and box section rims, which is absolutely incredible. My power is probably lower than some people might expect for the speed that I achieved, and the simple answer to this is that aerodynamics works. My power is certainly not world class, but arguably my drag coefficient, or CDA, is, as we estimate it to be around 0.175. Combining this with modern training and nutrition, it would appear that you can almost turn a donkey into a racehorse. It's just unfortunate that all the racehorses have also gotten faster as well.